The identity that brought you to 2 million will not take you to 20 million. So if you know you are ready for a quantum leap, guess what you need to do? You need to upgrade your identity, because the identity upgrade happens first and then all the other upgrades. Building a seven-figure, multiple seven-figure, eight-figure business is one of the most amazing things that you do in your career as an entrepreneur. And it does a lot of amazing things. First of all, it sets you up to have a lot of impacts. You actually have to help a lot of people to pull this off if you're going to do it ethically. And the second thing that it does is it creates financial freedom for you. It creates time freedom for you. And so I've watched so many people, building their dream businesses and their dream lives concurrently as I've worked with doctors over the last 7 years. And this has just been so phenomenal to watch. But there is an ugly side to it. And when I say ugly, it's in air quotes. It's an ugly side to it. And I want us to talk about that today, because I don't want it to catch you unawares. I want you to be prepared for it. I want you to not be thrown off by it. And when you describe it, I want you to also say it is the ugly side, and say it with quotes as well. Okay? So when I started off as an entrepreneur, my very first business, my private practice 15 years ago, I was naive. Okay, so yes, I wanted to build the business. I wanted to build it so it works. I wanted to build it so I could create financial freedom, time freedom, and all of those things. But I also thought, the bigger I built it, the more I built it, the less problems I would have. I was racing to fix problems. I was racing to get my business to a state where, okay, we're good now. I was racing to that point. But now, 15 years later, as an entrepreneur, I know that point does not exist, okay? The problems don't go away. The challenges don't go away. If anything, they actually get bigger, okay? But those bigger challenges will not faze you as much as the smaller challenges, quote unquote, that you're facing now faze you, because you will be different. You'll be more equipped. And you would fundamentally change your relationship with problems and challenges and obstacles. Okay. So I used to run to this place, like I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna do the things so that I can come to this place where I don't really have obstacles and things are good and the business is amazing. But now, 15 years later, I'm fully aware that the rewards for solving problems in your business is more problems. When you are like, oh my goodness, I want to solve the problem of cash flow. I want us to bring us to our first million, first 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. As you do that, the reward for doing that will be more problems. When you're like, oh my goodness, I don't have enough clients, I don't have enough patients and all of that stuff, we have a marketing problem, and you solve that problem, the reward for it is more problems. You're like, we don't have, good team members. I just have a number of, I have some VAs working for me and some contractors. I want to build my full-time team. I want to do all of these things. And you solve that problem. The reward for solving that problem is more problems. And you might say, Dr. Una, you're usually an optimistic person. Like, what in the world is going on with this podcast episode? I am saying this with a smile on my face, because once you get this, it will put you in this place where you are unbothered. Okay, like unbothered. And I think that's a beautiful place to be as an entrepreneur. And I want you to come to that place. Okay. So this is the deal. This is the ugly side. And if you understand this, it changes everything. Okay. So one way of putting it is the reward for solving problems is new problems. The other way of putting it is this: as you build your business, for every milestone you cross, all your systems will break. The marketing that brought you there may not work as well. Now, it doesn't mean the marketing principles fundamentally change. It's that tweaks are required. You need to optimize things in a different way. And I'll give you a few examples. The marketing that brought you there may not hold anymore. The team that got you there may not hold anymore. It doesn't mean you fire the team, but you may need a different level of team. The infrastructure that got you there, the tech stack that got you there, and the you that got you there, all these things are going to break. They're all going to need to be reworked. And the problem with not understanding this is, if you do not rework it, you are going to stay at that level and you are going to circle that level for years and years. It's kind of like you need the MCAT. Of course, yes, there are probably other ways, but just as a standard, you need the MCAT to get into medical school, and there's no passing it. There's no passing by it. There's no skipping it. Like in general terms, if you need to take it 5 times, you need to take it 5 times. In the same way, you will have the invitation to upgrade your system, because they will break. They will break. And if you don't say yes to it, you will take that test time after time. Then you have opportunities to take the test. You refuse to take the test, or you take the test and you didn't do the work, so you didn't pass the test, but you are not going anywhere. Now, when I'm saying you're not going anywhere, could you grow by 5%? Could you maintain? Could you do all that? Maybe in the beginning, maybe, right? But are you going to go from 2 million to 7 million without fixing all the systems that getting you to 2 million broke? You're not going there. It's kind of like, I want to build a building and it's going to be 2 floors. And then I change my mind, right? And I say, oh, I want 10 floors. I can't just take a 10 floor building and put on the foundation that was built for 2 floors. No, I need to build a foundation that can hold a 10 floor building. Is the same thing with your business. What got you here will not get you there. This is why one of the most dangerous things that you can do is get out of the fast lane of learning, acquiring skills, doing new things. Losing your growth mindset is the most damaging thing that you can do to your business. So anyway, let's talk about this here, okay? And I'm going to give you like real examples so you can see this play out, okay? So I have a client and she came into the EntreMD business school as an employed physician, okay? She knew she wanted to start a private practice, but she was employed at the time. And she comes in and she learns, the principles that we talk about and all of these things. She got her business really successful. She hit her first million. I think she hit her first 1.5 million. Okay. And she did something that was so amazing for me to watch. Okay. Because she said yes to this process. She said yes to it. She understood, like, to experience the next quantum leap. What I have now is so amazing. To take me from an employed physician to 1.5 million in revenue. This is nuts, right? But if I'm going to go from here to there, this foundation can get me there. And don't get me wrong, she had a really thriving practice. She had a really good system. She had a great support team. I think at this point, she probably had at least a part-time nurse practitioner working with her as well. She was doing her version of the dream life. She was able to, travel with her family. She was able to do all of these things. Okay. So life was good. Life was good. It's just like, it was good for that level. Now, could she have gone to 2 million with that? Most likely. Could she have gone to 2.5 million with that? Maybe, right? But where she's trying to go, can she go there without it? No, she cannot. Because I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to rework. And I'm just going to use her example to give that to you. Okay. So the first thing you're going to need to rework is your team. The team that got you to where you are, that team, chances are, cannot take you for the next quantum leap, at least not the way they are. They would need to either be retooled or you need to bring in new players. Okay, you need to bring in new players, or you need to bring in more higher caliber players, right? Okay, so for this doctor, she recognized, she had done the math, and math is something we do a lot in the EntreMD business school. In fact, we call it the EBS math puzzle. Okay, so we play with math a lot. And she does the math and does the math and does the math and understands, with the crew that I have now, I'm not going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to need another doc. I'm potentially going to need 2 docs, which you might say, yeah, that makes sense. But this is the thing. Almost everybody who has hired another doctor knows that it's not as straightforward as that, especially when you're the entrepreneur. There's a lot of mind dramas around, the way my business looks, the way my practice looks. People find me out that I don't really know what I'm doing. Why would somebody come work for me? And all of these kind of things, right? It happens to the best of us. It's mind drama, right? Okay. So we navigate that. Like, she knew, I'm going to need another doc. Maybe I'm going to need 2 docs. Okay. She also looked and said, okay, based on my team, the way my billing is going, I need to change my billing vendor. If I do not change my billing vendor, yes, I'm going to have all these patients that come in. I'm going to have the doctors who are going to see them, but we might as well just be throwing all the money away. Okay. And if you've ever needed to do that, in order to change the vendor she wanted to change to, she also had to change her EHR. So I want you to think about this, because this is like a colonoscopy. This is like a daily colonoscopy for a year. That's how painful it is. But then again, the foundation that got you to 2 million is not the foundation that will take you to 5, is not the foundation that will take you 10. These are things that need to be fixed. Okay. So she said yes to it. She said yes to getting a new biller. I hope you understand, like, if you run a practice and your practice is established, you can feel the pain of that, right? Okay. And then she also realized, like, I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at the management piece of this, but we're getting to the point where I cannot be the great clinician, the great manager, and the great business owner. Like, something needs to give. I need to bring on a practice manager. Now, I want you to think about these 3 things that I talked about. I hope you can see the dollar signs. Okay. So what do you need to hire doctors? A lot of dollar signs. What do you need to do to bring on a new biller and change your EHR and all of those things? Dollar signs, especially in the place of stalled revenue, right? Because when you change a biller, there is that transition period and between, when you're in the other system and the new system, the old biller and the new biller, and, the money's a little shaky. So again, it's dollars. Then in addition to that, you're like, okay, now I'm going to bring on a manager. What is that? More dollars, right? So many people, most people will not do this, at least not with the intensity this doctor did it. And what that will do is it will set the stage where they cannot grow the way they want to grow. This is not a thing. And I watched her do this, and I watched her do this in a short period of time. So the first thing that you're going to need to rework, the first thing that will quote unquote break is your team. So right now, I want you to think about your business, like where I am trying to go, like my next set of goals, where I'm trying to go. Who is the team member that I need? Who is the team member that I need? Some of you, who is the team member who needs to come off because they're occupying a very critical role, and that role is essentially unmanned because they're not showing up at all, right? Okay, so is the team. That's the first thing. Whether it's getting people off the team, whether it's optimizing the team that you have, whether it's bringing on higher capacity team players, and all of those things. So these 3 decisions she made were very difficult. Very difficult. But now she's pulled them off, all 3 of them. Doing this has set her up with, oh my goodness, she has more capacity, right? Because she has a new doctor to see more patients. She is keeping a lot more of her money because she has a proper billing company that she's partnering with, and she has a great EHR, a practice management system that she's using with them, and now she has a practice manager. So it's almost like a third of her time has been freed up, and it's on the plate of somebody who's doing this full time. So this person is going to create massive transformation in her business. Do you see how, yes, it's painful, but oh my goodness, the ROI is wonderful. So that's the first thing that breaks is a team. The second thing that may or may not break is the space. Okay, like where you work. Does this still work? Okay, so for her, the space that she had, if I remember correctly, was good for a doc and a half or 2 docs working at the same time. But for the goal that she had, the number of doctors, the number of procedures, and all of those things, that space was not going to work. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because you have to understand that there is quote unquote pain. It's more discomfort, okay, but a lot of discomfort. There is discomfort associated with greatness. There is discomfort associated with quantum leaps. And if anybody tells you, oh, do a thing, just automate everything and go to 10 million, I am telling you that they're lying to you. Okay. And the sooner we have this habit of embracing discomfort because we know what is on the other side of it. Now I'm talking about strategic discomfort, not just discomfort for the sake of it. Like what she did, it was very strategic. If you can embrace this, it puts you in this place where quantum leaps, that's your middle name. Okay. Okay. So for her, she had an extended lease. I think it was 10 years. And all these decisions were happening in year 4. So she still had all this time left on the lease, which someone will say, well, I guess I'm stuck. I have to stay here. No, she figured out how to move to a new space. She figured out how to sublease the old space and all these things. And I can say, I just said it in 2 sentences, but this was a months-long process, like months, like we're talking 8, 9 months to pull this off. Okay. Okay. So team, space. Right? Now you may be a coach and you say, oh, that doesn't matter to me. No, it's the same thing. It could be your same space, but in order to position yourself as the coach that people need, what needs to change in your space? How do you need to update your space? Right? That is a thing. And I'm not talking about, $1 million remodel or anything like that. If you've watched me, you will see that I had times where in the beginning, my background, it was my shutters, in my office. And then I moved in and there was my bookshelf. And I was using a regular, webcam that I got for $100 and whatever dollars, from Best Buy. And then, my brother comes in and he's like, okay, ma'am, you are running a multi-million-dollar company. We need to stop this immediately. This is the kind of camera you need. This is the kind of automations you need. So all you have to do is hit a button and everything comes on. These are the kind of lights you need. All this stuff. He's like, do you have at least, I don't remember what he told me, 3,000, 5,000, whatever it is, so I can come in and redo your office completely. And that's the setup I have now. So that's a space thing, right, for you as well, because you are the one who positions your business. However you position your business, that's the perception people have of it, right? So it applies in different ways is the point I'm trying to make, okay? Okay, so there's team, there's space. The third one is the tech stack. Okay. Now, in the beginning, you can whip anything together. In fact, in my practice, when I first started my practice, I remember getting a free EHR. I will love them forever. Okay. It was Practice Fusion. It was free at the time because I had just had a meeting with another vendor and they just told me that my EHR will cost me $30,000. Now, I need to understand, I did not qualify for any loans at the time. I had only worked for a year, so there was nowhere I had saved money, like to start this private practice. I was so scared that I didn't even hire anybody. I didn't hire a front desk person. I didn't hire an MA. I didn't hire a biller. I did those three things myself. I answered my own phones. I worked up my own patients. I collected their co-pays. I sent their claims to the insurance company. I did everything myself. So you have to understand that $30,000 for my EHR was like $3 million. It may have just been $3 million for my EHR. So I remember thinking about it, like, how am I going to do this? And I took my daughter to her pediatrician, who that was her first appointment with the pediatrician. I said, hey, I'm a pediatrician too. I'm starting to practice. What EHR do you use? And she says, oh, yeah, I got you. Like, I have an EHR that I use. It's free. It'll take you 5 minutes to sign up just like you would a Yahoo account. I just remember that because, who remembers Yahoo now? Okay. So I was like, what? And so she gives me the information and lo and behold, I sign up. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so great. And so I sign up for it. I use it. I mean, it was great. It saved me $30,000 and I used it for a really long time. But then as we started to grow, see, when you grow, you solve one problem, which is we don't have patients, right? We don't have patients. We don't have $30,000 for an EHR. You solve that, you get the free EHR, you get the patients, you've created new problems. Now, Practice Fusion is amazing. I'm not knocking them in any way. But as I got bigger, I needed more data. I needed to have access to more structured data. I needed some things to be more automated, to be mapped better, and all of those things, right? And so I had to make the decision to move to a different company. And the company I use now is PCC, Physicians Computer Company. It's a PED-specific EHR that I totally love. I remember the first time I spoke to them and they told me the price of it, I almost passed out. And I didn't know till after I signed up with them. The time when I had the first conversation with them and when I signed up with them was 2 years. It took me 2 years. Why am I telling you that? Because I've taken one for the team. I tell my clients this all the time. I've taken one for the team. Don't do this. Don't wait 2 years. Don't wait 2 years, right? Then I made the decision and I moved on to them. And then I had so much data. I could literally pull, these are all my patients who have Blue Cross Blue Shield, who are under the age of 3 and are overdue for an appointment, right? Boom. I can say, oh, the 4-year-olds, we want to get them in because they're going to need all their, kindergarten stuff, paperwork and vaccines and all of those things. And we want to do that now. All the patients who just turned 4 in the last 3 months, who are overdue for appointments or who are missing these vaccines, these are things that I could then do. So now I don't have issues with an empty schedule because if there's any day that was even slowish, I would just pull up a whole list from the database and call all these people, get them in, right? So I knew what to do. So I had to update my tech stack. Right? Same thing I just told you about my client, right? She had to update her practice management system. She had to do that. We're actually in the middle right now in EntreMD of a really big tech stack update because we have more volume, right? So for instance, with the EntreMD Business School, and I'm not going to spill the beans, but we are upgrading, right, the experience that they have. We are upgrading the curriculum and the way they access it and all of that. Why? We want to make 7 figures the new floor. We want our people to have mastery of how to do this. We want our people to more easily and more quickly create quantum leaps in their businesses, right? And so we have to update the tech stack. We need them to be able to interact with the content and with us and with each other differently. Now, we also have the profitable private practice movement. And if you run a private practice, oh my goodness, you should be part of the movement. It's entremd.com/movement. It is the best way to spend $19.97 for a year for your practice, okay? We have a few hundred in there, right? And now it's okay, what if 1,000 people wanted to join the profitable private practice movement? How would you manage that? How would you let them have a world-class experience and all of that stuff? So a complete tech stack update is required. It is like pulling teeth. We talk about eating the frog, right? And so if you're not familiar with the concept, what it is, the frog is that activity that you need to do that is closest to the money, that moves the needle the most, like gives you the biggest result, but usually something that you procrastinate on, either because when I do it, it's messy or it's high risk, or I'm nervous when I do it, or whatever. This tech stack update can be the most, like the slimiest, yuckiest, ugliest frog that you eat. But the return on investment, the ROI of it is humongous. So I've been, for the last week or so, it's almost like pulling teeth working on this tech stack update. But I understand that at the end of it, my goodness, this is going to be unbelievably amazing. It's going to give us technically brand new programs. Brand new. Okay. So that's for the tech stack. So your team will break, right? Quote unquote. The space will break. The tech stack will break. Okay. I've given you 3 examples of that. Now, number 4, your workflows. Okay. Your workflows will break. So you had 1 doctor, you had 3 exam rooms, and this was the way you saw patients. This is the way people checked in. This is the way they were roomed. This is the way you checked out. This is the way the team interacted with each other. All of those things. In the EntreMD world, we call, for door to door, that experience, the assembly line, right? So it's from when they come in, how they're greeted, how they're checked in, all the monies that need to be collected, the rooming of the patient, servicing of the patient, who needs to come in after that, how they check out, all the stuff. The whole thing is called the assembly line. That assembly line will break. Like, you introduce a new doctor, it will break. You increase the number of rooms, it will break. You change your team structure, it will break. You grow, it will break. Like, it just breaks. Now, you could fight to hold the old team structure, or you could say the workflow doesn't work anymore, so let's rework the workflow. And I want to invite you to be this person who is savvy. You're a savvy physician CEO, and now you understand it. So you anticipate the break. You're like, okay, I'm going to hire a new doctor. When I hire this new doctor, this workflow won't work. So boom, what will our new workflow look like? So by the time the doctor walks through the door, you already have the new workflow in place. And so, yes, there'll be a transition period, but instead of that transition period being 2 years of pain and suffering, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, and that's it. Right? Okay. So workflows will break. They will absolutely break. Okay. And it's with any kind of business. Okay. Your workflows will break. Okay. The 5th thing that would be broken, and when I say broken, I hope you don't misunderstand it like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just like it won't carry anymore. It won't be effective anymore. We have to rework it. Okay. Now, the 5th thing that will be broken, that will break, is your identity. It's your identity. The identity that brought you to 2 million will not take you to 5 million. The identity that brought you from employed physician to $500,000 will not bring you to 1 million. The identity that brought you to 2 million will not take you to 20 million. That identity will not do it. So if you know you are ready for a quantum leap, guess what you need to do? You need to upgrade your identity, because the identity upgrade happens first and then all the other upgrades. So if you keep learning new strategy and new tactics and new all of these things, but you're not addressing your identity at all, you're going to experience some growth, right? And all of that stuff. But the quantum leap is not happening without the quantum leap in your identity, how you see yourself. Now, I'll tell you something really funny. I want to show you how your mind, right? Of course, you've heard me say so many times that the undisciplined mind is an idiot. But beyond that, I want to show you how your mind doesn't necessarily make the leaps, except you help it make the leaps, okay? So there was a day, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, I was looking at a website, and this guy was talking about, what he's done in his coaching business and how he's taken it to 2 million and all of these things. I remember looking at it and reading all the stuff on his website, the testimonials of his clients, and I was like, my goodness, this guy is amazing. Like, look at what he's done. And it wasn't from a place of, wow, this is amazing. I was like, wow, one day I can be like that. One day I can do what he did. This is all subconscious, right? I wasn't saying these words out loud, but it was coming from that place. And I remember, like, I got caught in my tracks. I was like, hold up. I was like, hang on. Wait a minute. You did 2 million last year. You have clients who've gone from employed physicians to multiple 7-figure business owners. You've helped people. Like, what are you talking about? And I realized in that moment that I had made the transition, like result-wise, but it hadn't taken yet in my mind. Do you know how dangerous that is? That means subconsciously, I was working on getting to the point where I could build a $2 million business, even though I had a $2 million business. Do you see that? So can you go to 10 million with that mindset? You can't. You can't, because you're troubleshooting for 2 million. You're troubleshooting for 2 million. And so that identity shift needs to happen. And sometimes, let me tell you, like, it could be as simple as allowing yourself go there. Like, what if I built a business? So let's say you want to go from 2 to 5, okay? Or you want to go from 2 to 10, whatever. You're like, wow, what if I built a business that was 5 million, that was 10 million in revenue? Allow yourself go there. If I did that, if I was the person who did that, how would I think differently from the way I think now? If I were to do that, how would I talk differently than I talk now? If I were to do that, what would my expectations be that would be different from what they are now? If I were to do that, what kind of team would I be leading? How would I lead them? What level of confidence would I have? What kind of collaborations would I have? What kind of vendors would I have? What will my new 20% activities be? What are the things that I would no longer do? Based on that, I would no longer do things like this. Who are people who are already doing these things? So I would be one of those people. Like, literally, there are many things you can use to do this, but one of my favorites is visualization. And what are you doing? You're just trying to acclimatize with, I am that kind of person. I am the person who does that. Because the actions that person takes will be required upfront from you to pull off the result. And so you're like, oh, right now I'm afraid of showing up on camera, but you're like, that version of me shows up confidently on camera. That version of me hires these kind of people comfortably. That version of me holds these kind of team meetings. That version of me is not afraid of looking at my profit and loss statement. That version of me is not afraid of investing in herself. That version of me, right? And you sit with that. I have my clients do this all the time. I have them do it, like, if they will, every single day, where you're hanging out with the future version of you, like identifying as that person and learning to show up as that person, right? You can see that the reward for solving problems is more problems. And I say with a smile, because it's not a problem. It's just you need to be aware of it, and you need to know how to respond to it, okay? Now you can see that when you get that big breakthrough, you hit the 2 million, you hit the 5 million, whatever, everything breaks. It all breaks. And it's not in a bad way. It's not that your business falls apart, but it breaks. You're going to need a new foundation. Okay. The beautiful thing is, like, unlike the foundation for a building, for the most part, you can work with the foundation you have and expand it and optimize it in some cases. In some cases, you're moving players and putting in new players. You're moving tech, but it's not like from scratch. It's not like from ground zero. So that's not what I mean. I don't mean burn your business down and start over. But what I do mean is, as you walk towards your quantum leap, your first million, your first 2 million, your first 5 million, your first 10 million, I want you to think, how does the team need to change? How does my space need to change? How does my tech stack need to change? How does my workflow need to change? How does my identity need to change? And I'm talking from a strategic point. I am not talking from bells and whistles. I'm not talking about, oh yeah, ooh, this bell, this whistle will be good. No, this is strategic. For where I am going, what team do I need? For where I am going, what space do I need? For where I am going, what tech stack do I need? For where I am going, what workflow do I need? For where I'm going, what identity do I need? It's not bells and whistles. It's not, oh, now I have money so I can afford all the stupid stuff that's not going to make a difference in my business. I am talking strategically what needs to change. If you become the person who, number one, anticipates this and then decides, oh, I need to fix this, right? Your life as an entrepreneur will be so much more fun. Okay, because first, you're not going to be in resistance. You're not going to be annoyed, like, I shouldn't be back here. You are going to come back to this place for as long as you're an entrepreneur. You're going to come back to team, space, tech stack, workflow, identity. You're going to come back here, meet, and it's not the only places, but these are the top 5 that I could give you. But these things are going to need to change. So you're not thrown off. If you can anticipate it and prepare, or if you get caught by it and you're like, oh, but I know what to do, you will enjoy your journey as an entrepreneur. You'll continue to grow. So one of the most harmful things you can do to yourself as an entrepreneur who wants to continue to grow, who wants hyper growth, is to stop growing, stop learning, stop putting in the reps. I hear people tell me, oh, I don't need that marketing stuff anymore. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? Like, Apple is still marketing. Coca-Cola is still marketing. Tesla is still marketing. What makes you think you don't need to market, right? Okay, So we don't outgrow those things, okay? We never outgrow those things. We become better at them. We never outgrow the basics. We just get better at the basics, okay? So I am rooting for you. And if you are like, man, I need to get into the growth game. I need to grow in my capacity to lead a team, to hire a team, to make difficult decisions. One of the most powerful things that we do in our programs is, yes, you're going to get world-class strategy, right? Like, I mean, this is my free stuff. So imagine what happens, behind the paywall. So you're going to get world-class strategy. You're going to get the gift of accountability, but you're going to get the gift of accountability that makes you keep going when the challenging times come. So for the doctor that I was telling you about, she got doctors on board. She changed her practice management system. She changed her biller. She got a practice manager on board. She worked her identity. She got a new space and all of these things. And she did it over the course of a year. This is not something that happened in 2 seconds, but I want you to understand that she has set the stage for a business that will blow her own mind. Like, I know she has plans, but I also know that she has no clue what's coming, like how good that is going to be. And I kept watching her. I kept acknowledging her. I kept making sure she was getting the right coaching, all those things, because I said, this is painful, right? Now, again, I mean, significant discomfort. This is painful. And she chose to take them on like a boss. Like, she took a number of them on at the same time, a number of these tweaks on at the same time. But I was like, if she can just go through the process on the other side of it, it's going to be so beautiful. And that's where she is now, right? And so part of what we do is give you a container so that when you need to go through things like this, you can go through it. When the challenging times come, you can go through it, because there will be challenging times. When the problems show up as a reward for solving problems, you're not thrown off, and you're doing it in community where you can see everybody doing the same thing. So like for her, people got to watch her do this. So when they're doing theirs, they're like, oh yeah, it was just like her. Like, yeah, that's the way we roll. Okay. So if you're like, man, I want to be in a container where I'm growing in the times when growing is comfortable and the times when growing is uncomfortable, I'm making the difficult decisions, because this is a difficult decision, but it's a decision with a humongous return on investment. I want to be able to make those difficult decisions and all of that stuff. Book a call with my team. Okay. EntreMD.com/call. This is what we do. This is how we support doctors. This is a huge part, because entrepreneurship is not all dance and song. It really isn't. It's very doable, but it's challenging. And if anybody tells you it's not, they lie to you. It is challenging, but it's a worthwhile challenge, right? Why I'm not thrown off by the challenges is a very rewarding challenge, okay? So I want to invite you to book that call, because you're going to need to grow. You're going to need support. You're going to need world-class mentorship. You're going to need accountability, and it would be a complete game changer for you, especially in the times that we're in, and especially if you are somebody who wants to grow and grow. Now, if you're like, I've gone where I've gone, I'm cool, whatever, then that's okay. But if you're somebody who wants to grow, somebody who wants to make a difference, someone who is like, I think I could do that. I don't know how, but I think I could, and I'm ready to put the work behind it, then we have something for you. Okay. Okay, so EntreMD.com/call. And when you talk to my team, they'll kind of point you in the right direction of what program is the best fit for you. Okay, we don't do high pressure sales, but that's just not a thing that we do. We truly love and support physicians and want to see them win. So really, it's just like matchmaking. That's what that is. Okay. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is to think about, what is the next challenging project I need to take on that will allow me experience hypergrowth. Right? We want you to look to that obstacle. Is it team? Is it space? You don't have any space to, like, you're tapped out completely. Is it your workflow? Right? Is it your tech stack? Is it your identity? Do you need to make this daily visualization thing something that you now do? Set an alarm for yourself. Give yourself a 30-day challenge. Okay? But this is the deal. I love telling my story. I was talking to a pediatrician this weekend who's like, I started my practice. I'm nervous and this and that and that. And I was like, oh my goodness, my story is your story. Right? She has a bunch of kids. I have a bunch of kids. And, she started and she's working a job at the same time. I worked a job. I self-funded my private practice, all this stuff. I said, listen to me. The reason why I tell my story all the time, I tell my story, is so that you have evidence that this is so doable. Because I started off worse than almost any physician that I know. Right? I was like, here you are, you're even talking to me. I wouldn't stop me to talk to me. That's how introverted I was. Right? So anyway, I am telling you, that understanding this process took me from employed physician to owning a practice that was profitable, to owning a practice I could exit from, to EntreMD, to becoming a podcaster, a YouTuber, writing books, the founder of a business school, the founder of the profitable private practice movement, and on. Why? I understand that the reward for solving problems is new problems, and those problems need to be solved. Like the breakthrough you're looking for is on the other side of that problem being solved. And if you can redefine these problems and stop seeing them as issues, but things to be overcome and things that are stepping stones to your next level, you will literally become unstoppable. And that is what I would love for you. I just want to imagine you being unstoppable. Okay. All right. Rooting for you always. Please share this episode with another doctor. We are working to make 7 figures the new floor. And if we do not understand this, 7 figures cannot be the new floor. So the more physicians who understand this and the more physicians who apply this in their businesses, the better we will all be. Okay. Rooting for you. I'll see you on the next episode.